Hello and welcome to Journal of a High-Masking Autistic. Let's rewind a bit. The podcast where we unpack the little quirks that make us human. I'm your host, Daniel Simon. We all have them, those small, almost invisible habits we've crafted over a lifetime, often as solutions to problems no one else even knew we had. At school, eye contact was a quick fix. Glance, smile, and move on. In the workplace, though, things got trickier. You're expected to look at people, to appear attentive, especially in meetings. But the same old trick didn't always work. Wow, this meeting is long. When is he going to stop talking? That's what goes through my head while someone's presenting. It's been 10 minutes, but it feels like hours. I try to focus. I want to focus, but I can't. Dissociation and freezing up. That's how it is called, I believe. Some autistic individuals describe dissociation as a mental checkout, losing awareness of the room and sinking into their thoughts. Brett Novick calls it freezing up. That's exactly what happened to me. At first, I'd repeat to myself, pay attention, focus. But then a thought would come in, and then another, and suddenly the meeting was over. I couldn't remember a thing. I started avoiding non-essential meetings, social events, anything where I knew I'd likely zone out. Thankfully, I ended up in tech, a field where doing is valued more than talking. Still, there were always those must-attend events. For those, I found refuge in bathroom breaks or stepping outside, just to breathe. Because that's what it felt like, holding my breath the entire time. And when it was over, I could finally exhale. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate people, but I do love breathing. Marriage and the eyes. As I mentioned, I got married, found my partner in crime. She's everything I'm not, social, expressive, full of energy. Pay attention to me. Look at me when I'm talking to you. You're not listening, you're doing something else. She's not wrong. But what she doesn't know is that I listen better when I'm not looking at her. Eye contact makes it harder to process what's being said. Should I tell her? Maybe. But I don't. Instead, I adapt. I move around. I distract her. Redirect the moment. I use a new version of my old trick. Quick glance, movement, a response, repeat. It works. Until she asks me to stop moving around. In those moments, I just hope the conversation isn't too long or emotionally heavy. I want to listen. I really do. So I talk to distract her, to acknowledge that she has my attention and share my thoughts. I hope she understands that even when I don't meet her gaze, I am paying attention. She adapts too. She's cool like that. We take walks outside, and she talks. Since we're walking side by side, it's easier for me. But I'm not going to tell her that, or I might have to explain. And maybe she thinks that's just the way he is. And maybe that's okay. Autistic individuals frequently struggle with both expressing themselves and understanding others, especially in emotionally charged or nuanced situations. This ongoing risk of miscommunication can cause significant anxiety and make the idea of opening up emotionally feel risky and overwhelming. The fear of being misunderstood or inadvertently causing conflict further compounds this, creating a vicious cycle of anxiety and withdrawal. So, you might ask, why not just tell her? Well, the truth is, I didn't even know I was autistic for a long time. Or at least, I didn't recognize that what I was experiencing had a name. When I finally understood, I still didn't say anything outright. Actually, that's not entirely true. I hinted at it, tested the waters, dropped it in the conversation here and there. But she dismissed it, and I kept quiet, certain it wouldn't be received. Seeing this stranger, the one she thought she knew, would be jarring for her. Don't get me wrong, I haven't changed. It's still me, just without the layer of, I need to act this way to make others feel better because this is the world we, or I, live in. But from her perspective, the habits, the speech, the actions, it's not the same person she knew. I imagine I would find it strange too. How can I explain that I once believed the way I behaved was how people always behaved? That I was just clumsy at it and thought everyone acted like that? All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. Shakespeare. I suppose that's the price you pay for masking for so long. You build this persona, this version of yourself that people think they know, and after a while, you almost become it. Revealing what's underneath feels like tearing off a mask you've been wearing for years. Impact on relationships and those close to us. 1,2. For many autistic people, masking continues in close relationships, leading to cycles of misunderstanding, resentment, and burnout. Partners may feel confused or even hurt upon learning that their loved one has been masking, as it can appear as if needs or discomforts were intentionally hidden. The dynamic can create a silent wedge in relationships, as authenticity is necessary for intimacy but can only emerge if both parties feel safe, requiring courage and compassion on both sides. When artistic individuals unmask and begin expressing their real needs, behaviors, or sensory preferences, their loved ones need to adapt. Misunderstandings may arise, but there is also an opportunity for deeper empathy and connection. And honestly, is unmasking truly worth it? I keep turning it over in my mind, weighing the risks against the potential rewards, and I'm not yet convinced. The world might see the real me, but at what cost? The relief of being authentic clashes with the fear of being misunderstood, judged, or rejected. For now, the balance remains uncertain, and I find myself hesitating on the edge, unsure if stepping forward will be freedom or just exposure. I don't dare bring it up directly. What would she think? Would she feel like she doesn't really know me? Would she think I've been lying to her all along? Would she see me as handicapped, defective, or helpless? Or worse, would she believe that religion could somehow fix me? Yes, I said it. She firmly believes that everything can be solved through religion. Do I need fixing? Am I a problem to be solved? Also, to be clear, I'm not talking about biblical principles or any sacred text. It's the additional beliefs people build on top of those sacred scriptures that I struggle with. That dangerous gray area where personal conviction intertwines with religious teaching. Where someone's private interpretation becomes truth. That's where stigmas are born. And that's exactly the space I'm afraid to step into with her. These stigmas around autism vary depending on the tradition, denomination, and cultural background, but they're real, and I've seen them. Sometimes I've lived them. Here are a few that stand out, and honestly, they still bother me. Lack of faith or spiritual brokenness. In some religious circles, people misunderstand behaviors like avoiding eye contact, not raising your hands in worship, or staying quiet in group activities. They might think, you don't believe enough. You're spiritually distant or closed off to God. You need to be healed from autism, as if it's some moral or spiritual flaw. They don't see that this is just who I am, that worship looks different for different people, that silence doesn't mean absence. Autism equals sin or possession? Yes, this one is still out there. In some fundamentalist or very literal communities, autism gets blamed on personal sin or some generational curse, or worse, demonic possession. This can lead to harmful behavior like exorcisms, deliverance prayers, or healing services that try to pray the autism away instead of supporting the person in front of them. We're not trying to offend. We're just trying to exist. Misreading social communication. Autistic like me might avoid small talk, speak directly or too bluntly, struggle with group activities or the whole unspoken rule thing. But instead of understanding that, people sometimes see it as being rude or arrogant, disrespectful to elders or leaders, or refusing to fit in with community values. We're not trying to offend. We're just trying to exist. Excluded from leadership. Many faith communities value charisma, confident public speaking, and relational ministry, which is great, unless you're autistic. This means people like me get passed over for leadership, service, or teaching roles. It's assumed that because we communicate differently, we can't grow spiritually or contribute meaningfully. Sometimes I wonder if we redefine what leadership actually looks like. Treated like a child, forever. This one hits home. Autistic adults, especially those who are quiet, sensitive, or struggle with executive functioning, often get talked down to, treated as spiritually immature, excluded from making their own decisions like baptism, communion, or church membership. We're not children. We're adults with thoughts, beliefs, doubts, and faith, just like anyone else. Assumed to be atheists or cynics. Because many of us think logically, ask deep questions, or don't connect with poetic metaphors, we're often misunderstood. People assume we're too rational to believe, not capable of having a spiritual experience, or just